Hi everyone, how are you? Well, today I'm not here to share any edits specifically, but I'm here to talk about my love for this character that I deeply relate to and its foundations. So let's talk Furter. For those of you who may not know, I deal with borderline personality disorder, and that changes my worldview, my emotions, my relationships. It involves mood swings, fear of rejection or abandonment, lack of anger management, and a distorted sense of self. And today I want to explain how Frank is personally highly relatable on that. Reminder, I'm someone telling things from my personal experience. I'm not a professional. Just someone who's lived their life in a particular way that I find interesting enough to be exploring, even more so with a fictional work. So he's charming, attractive, he's the life of the party, and he's confident? Not exactly. Don't judge a book by its cover. I often feel like his image is something he struggles with. He shows even more of that in his tearful, open-hearted sequence I'm Going Home. And he tries to build this larger-than-life persona to compensate for how insecure he actually is. This is someone who is deeply afraid that he will lose people's attention and be left only with himself, in this histrionic behavior that is obviously both a mask and a shield from what seems to hurt him the most, and coincidentally, what also hurts someone with BPD to their very core: abandonment. He's emotionally unstable and he deals in maladaptive ways with his feelings. And you see, as soon as there's another character who shows their attention to somebody else, he loses his stability. That brings me to another point: his expression of hypersexuality, something people with my disorder may relate a lot to, and also a histrionic trait. So he has this as a means of escape and compensation for this lack of healthy relationships that he wishes for, but he fails to build with others. And when he says that his creation is a means of relieving his tension, it does seem like a very cheeky remark, but considering his whole character, there is likely more to it, because an unstable personality also means feeling you lack a core, a true purpose. So that's where sexual gratification is constantly used by him to fill this void. His entire fascination with planet Earth, in fact, does come off as a desperate attempt to belong somewhere. If not where he was born, then he will try to ambitiously carve his mark and find his welcoming place. Yes, he's the scientist, that's his place on this reimagination of Mary Shelley's work, but he's also in many ways taking the place of the lonely, longing creature. Next, idealizing versus devaluing. This is something people with BPD often do to someone they hold very high in their standards because they really like someone. Then at the very first sign of disappointment, they just snap at them and show anger and contempt instead. And I see this in his sentence to Rocky: "I made you and I can break you just as easily." You know, very on the nose, right? So I see this too in a funny tone in his sequence Wise Up Janet Wise, where he's mocking her, he's teasing her, and he doesn't really have the courage to actually hurt her or dispose of her, as we've seen he does with other characters. He's capable of doing that, right? So he just wants to sound spiteful with his words, and he does. And he also does something very typical because he clings physically to her. So it's mockery, but it's the emotionally driven kind. And Janet, she is still thankful to his more colorful, free, and very, very artistic expression of himself. She thanks him for everything, and I see that she rises above because she sees there is good to his character after all. So she is the character that matured the most. But I digress because we're talking about him, right? For a character who shares a lot of the same pains, the same anger issues with me, I offer my empathy. He's a very iconic personality for many reasons, for going against society's norms, expectations, and prejudice, but above all, he's a human character with a beating heart, and in my heart, he'll always find a home.